We're creeping up on draft week. Texans, basically, all eyes are on the Texans. They're going to draft a quarterback at 2. Can they afford to? And who do they need to sell it to? What the hell does this all mean? Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the head.
Sell me this pick. We heard Nick Caserio go Wolf of Wall Street this week. I'm not effing leaving. I'm going to go to another scene on Wolf of Wall Street. Probably my favorite on top of the McConaughey one. Sell me this pin. Sell me this pick, Nick. How would Nick Caserio sell the Texans pick if they passed on CJ Stroud when they passed on a quarterback? And is it as difficult as we think it may be? And what the hell does it even mean? It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, Sports Radio 610, 10 to 2 Central, and on the Odyssey app. And you can see me right here in the locker room on YouTube. So how would the Texans sell passing on CJ Stroud? If they have to sell it, I think the person that would need to make the sell would be DeMeco Ryans. I don't think there's like intense trust issues with Nick Caserio, but there does appear to be a portion of the fan base. And notice that I said if they have to sell it. There does seem to be a portion of the fan base that's kind of just rolls their eyes when Nick talks because he sounds like a lot of GMs, a lot of word salad. And furthermore, the situation that they're in right now where they don't have the number one pick and they're not going to get their top guy, he had a hand in it with the handling of how things went down from Brandon Cooks to Indianapolis, not executing that trade and not resting a guy that they were going to trade in the final week. So if the Texans need to sell it, they need to bring DeMeco. And DeMeco needs to be able to explain what went into the line of thinking. He can sell his experience. He's been in this situation many times. 2017 with San Francisco, 2021, where you had to decide whether or not to take a quarterback. He can talk about his vision. And he can talk about just the overall process. You remember when you were 16, 17 years old, and maybe you get a gift. If you get the immediate satisfaction, and let's say you get the coolest piece of clothing or something like that, you're probably pretty excited. But if someone like one of your relatives or something decides to give you, like, I don't know, a check towards college or something like that, you're not going to be too pumped. And that's probably how a lot of fans feel. You want a quarterback right now. Sometimes it's just not that simple. So DeMeco Ryans is going to have to go up there and sell his vision. And furthermore, it should be his vision. Like pick 2 should be DeMeco Ryans. Tie goes to DeMeco. I'm not saying that should be the case on everything, but the tie should go to DeMeco. DeMeco should not have to settle for, and maybe he thinks it's worth a swing. But if they don't like one of these number 2 quarterbacks that they could potentially take at number 2, then DeMeco doesn't need to be placed with that. He has a longer shelf life at the moment than Nick Caserio. So if they want to make this sales pitch, and if they feel that they need to, we'll get into that in a second. Do they really need to? DeMeco needs to be the one to go up there because I think people trust DeMeco. They believe in DeMeco, and I think DeMeco is kind of the face of your franchise. So that would be the most important thing there. Number one, DeMeco needs to go up there and be the one to make the pitch. And I think a lot of fans would believe what DeMeco said. The one thing that I don't think fans would buy is if you go up there and just sell Davis Mills or Case Keenum as, solid quality starting quarterbacks. As we get closer to camp, if that situation comes up, you can go up there and do that. But I wouldn't say we believe in these guys. And again, this is just if you're trying to make the sales pitch. John McClain, buddy of in the Loop on Sports Radio 610. He's actually going to join us, man. This is always the best McClain visit. So fire up the Odyssey apps and come through. He's going to join us at 11 Central on Tuesday. He wrote a column. I read through it. There are a couple things that stuck out, but as far as this like need to sell thing, that's what McClain, the overall theme of his column, I guess, is the Texans need to get a quarterback, but he also says don't force the pick at 2. So this is the thing. There's a couple of things that confuse me, and I've had this conversation with McClain, and sometimes it gets a little bit chippy, but I love John, and I have a relationship with John. If you don't want to force it at 2, why is it okay to force it anywhere else? That's what's confusing to me, because I agree with him. You don't force drafting a quarterback at 2. That's how you end up with, Zach Wilson, like the Jets. The Jets are looking for a quarterback now, and they drafted Zach Wilson. I guess you can say maybe the same thing with the 49ers when it comes to Trey Lance, which, by the way, might be an option for the Texans at quarterback. But if you don't force a quarterback at 2, why do you force a quarterback anywhere else? That's what's confusing to me. And the thing that I hate, and I've said this to McClain many times, is if you said the Texans can't afford to pass on Will Levis, or the Texans can't afford to pass on CJ Stroud, or the Texans can't afford to pass on Anthony Richardson, then that would make sense. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the actual prospect, that would make sense because you're giving me a specific name. But the Texans need to draft a quarterback? I'm old enough to remember when John McClain said this, and he ended up having to eat a page out of the Houston Chronicle because they didn't. And you look at what the options were when they made that pick, they could have had Johnny Manziel or Blake Bortles. How would that have looked? So the a quarterback thing is what I have a problem with. A quarterback. They don't need to do that. D'Amico doesn't need to do that. Maybe they can get to the point where they're more willing to be aggressive on it, but the draft a quarterback, why? Why do they need to do that? If it doesn't make sense at 2, why does it make sense anywhere else? And what do they need to sell the fans on? Do they need to sell the fans on a quarterback or the quarterback? That's the thing that, we've been in multiple instances where they just wanted a quarterback. They went and got Brock Osweiler. I think that was what the great Bob McNair said, go get me a quarterback. Well, we signed Brock Osweiler. Didn't work out. So I just need specific names. And CJ Stroud seems to be the specific name, and it seems to be the name that people are talking about the most. I wouldn't bet on it, but a lot can change in the next few days. And a lot of people seem to believe that that's the right pick. So maybe D'Amico and Caserio come to an agreement that that's where they're going to go. I'm just not feeling it. Been wrong before though. Many a times. Won't be the first, won't be the last. Here's the reality of the situation though. As we talk about, selling the pick, sell me the pick, Nick, sell me the pick, D'Amico. Who is buying it, and does it even matter? What exactly are you selling, and who is buying, and does it even matter? I've been to every game at NRG for a long period of time. And the last 2 years, the place has been dead. It's been absolutely dead. Now you can say, well, that's because they haven't had a quarterback. Okay. Or it could be just because they don't have a complete team. So you've already had an increase in season ticket sales. So are fans just like going to cancel their season tickets and not show up because you take Will Anderson instead of CJ Stroud? Is that what we're going to do? Is that what's going to happen? And furthermore, does it even matter if the fans approve the pick or not? I mean, we should know that very well here. Like there was a parade when David Carr was selected. That didn't work out. JJ Watt was booed. So we're talking about, we got to sell the fans after draft day. I mean, I think most NFL fan bases can relate to this. I mean, there's all types of videos of some of the greatest picks in NFL history being booed, and then some of the biggest busts, you hear cheers. So who exactly is buying it? Things have been awful the last couple of years. I don't want to say that it can't be worse, but in a way, it can't be worse. So tell me who the hell has to buy this, and does it even matter? You need to get cheers on draft day? Hell, if anything, if we've learned anything here, maybe the boos are better. So I'd love to know who's buying this and whether it even matters. And then if they do need to sell it, D'Amico needs to be the one to sell it. And furthermore, on what matters more, D'Amico needs to be the one that signs off on this number 2 pick. He didn't create this situation. It's his squad. He's the face of it. Caserio is going to have a big hand in it, but D'Amico needs to be the one to make the decision at number 2. He's not the one who screwed this up in the first place, to where we're not basically doing Bryce Young videos 24/7 and trying to figure out where they're going to put the Dr. Pepper and Bryce Young billboard. I digress, trying to move past that. But the bottom line is this: sell this pick. Does it matter? If it does, D'Amico needs to do it. He needs to sell his experience. He needs to sell the process. And furthermore, he needs to sell the assets. This is a process. I've been in this before. Obviously, we want to get a quarterback. We feel we've got future equity to find the guy, and we're going to go out there and we're going to try to win games. I was in San Francisco last year. The 2 best players on the team were Nick Bosa and maybe Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel. Maybe you can throw a linebacker in there. But I know there's multiple ways to win in the NFL, and we're not going to force it. We like those guys. We thought this was what was in our best interest. We'll see you at training camp. And I am old enough to remember when J.J. Watt was booed. So I know the fans want a quarterback. We want a quarterback too. We want to win games, but we did what was in our best interest. There you go. Pins sold. Nick Caserio not effing going anywhere. It's the Locker Room. Subscribe, like, business picking up, getting fun around here. Stuff might level out. If you want CJ Stroud, maybe you'll get him. If you don't get him, you know what? It doesn't matter, because we are all in this together. Have a good effing weekend. Next time you wake up, it's going to be draft week.
It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the Locker Room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on